Good evening, good morning, everybody. I'm Riccardo, and I will talk about myself and the project that I brought to the mentorship in order to develop, refine, and deepen the conceptual and further perspectives. So first about me, I am from Bologna, Italy, but I'm living since 2013 in Germany, between Bremen and Berlin. I'm an electroacoustic composer, performer, and multimedia artist. Very interested into the relationship between sound and other medias. So in the last years, I created different kind of projects which really have different combination of these media in that. So as you can see from the pictures, they go from audiovisual installations to sound installation and performance with also dance and movement into space. So just to get a better impression of it, I prepare a very short show reel of some of relevant projects of mine about that. So enjoy.
Inizio sul bacio dei palieri.
E ghiacciare che nulla giova, e dopo al cinema.
That was very quick, so if you want, take your time to have a stroll through my project in my website. But for today, I brought something very new, and through the mentorship, I could start to focus and redefine for future development. The sound for the world is gone. That's the working title I chose for this immersive sound installation, where movement shapes what survives, changes, or disappears, revealing how fragile our connection to ecological system really is. A project which mixes experiencing sound in space with something which comes from other contexts, like ecology and existence itself. So my wish is to develop in the future an installation which can stimulate and answer, or at least pose this question: how might ecological behavior change when we recognize our responsibility and interconnectedness within ecosystems? Of course, it's a topic which has to do with the actual development and future development of life on Earth itself, but it really starts from encounters that I had in the past years from different points of view. Here I gathered some of them which were very significant to me, and as you can see, they go from biology to literature to sound art works, which explore different aspects of this question. We are on Earth, and we have a responsibility, and our action and decision have consequences not only in the society we live in, but also in the environment. And from this basic acquaintance, I really found some resonance in the work of these four artists and literate and intellectuals and scientists. So maybe I will tell more about them after, but I would like now to jump into the project itself. So, as I said, I imagine an interactive sound installation which takes place in a space who resembles a forest. Of course, I take inspiration from nature for abstracting it, because I want to focus on the experience people do in this space. I would like visitors to engage in a imaginary journey through a transforming artificial ecosystem populated by sounds, like in a soundscape, which contains different degrees of abstractions and connection to reality. Here you can see some pictures that show the first sketches of developing a space inspired by natural architecture. So, besides that ecological aspects, there is one particular acoustic experience which inspired me for going through the development of it from the aural point of view. So this object, a metal symbol, I been using it as a loudspeaker for many years because I was fascinated through the acoustic properties that changes of sounds through that. So I prepare a very short example just to let you imagine how could it sound. So this is a sample of an owl without transformation, and now it is. Now you can hear how does it sound through this special speaker system. So what really fascinates me is the hybridization of identities that happens through this system. But talking about the new project I want to develop, I was imagining to build a sculpture out of that, and not a single one, but a population of them through the space. So I was starting through the mentorship to develop an idea of space and interaction. Because what I want to explore is a sort of action-reaction system that perceives the movement and the position of the visitors in space, and according to that, simulates sounds to react in different ways. Like you can imagine creatures of a forest, of an ecosystem, which are sensing us. So for now, the most important question was also, besides space, was also about time and dramaturgy. And I was imagining a sort of time lapse, which is fixed in time, but with a flexible element in it, like something that you can scale through a very small time scale to a very large one. So in this way, I would like people to enter consciously the space and to be aware that something is going to happen in the defined arc of time. And of course, it's going to repeat many times with breaks, so that every time a cycle repeats, I can create a shifting of time and space in the installation, so that maybe we can start from the time of 1 millisecond beneath the soil, and then for the next cycle go through a night in the forest, and for the next cycle from past, future, present on Earth. My wish is, of course, to create a multi-layered experience that simulates questions and questioning not only the perception, but also the significance of all of that. And I imagine also different kinds of interaction through this arc of time. So the sound identities, but also the interaction rules changes. And just to have an impression of it, of course, it's still a work in progress. I developed a 3D audiovisual simulation which focuses on the principle of disappearance. Let's have a look at that. as you could perceive, in this case, the only rule which I developed is as soon as the visitor, the point of view, comes close to one of these sculpture, the sound which is emitted from that particular sculpture turns off, disappears. And in this case, I was using lights also as for sustaining this simulation. But of course, my wish is to work mostly with aural perception and simulating in that sense the spatial aural perception of each visitor. Of course, there are many questions open. So, like, what does it happen when many people come in? How do people interact with each other also through in the space? And how much of the concept is gonna flow directly through the installation? But of course, I am looking forward for developing hands-on this project in real life, let's say. And for that, my future plans are to find the fundings for developing and acquiring materials for producing this installation. But I would also love to take part into residencies, which allows me to focus exactly on this idea. And last but not the least, I also consider the possibility to deepen the concept and the way of using this particular sound system for different applications. So I was also considering about deepening the concept into a PhD. But let's see. For now, I'm really happy to have participated into this mentorship and to have met you today. I'm very curious if you have some questions, but for now, thank you very much, and let's keep in touch.